Okay. I was watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay. That's the beginning and the end of my Gordon Ramsay impression. Okay. I am in Chicago with some wine, and I'm here on behalf of Isotope doing some exhibiting at Chicago IMSTA Festa, and that's with the SAE Institute here. Super smart school, amazing people, doing a master class on mastering and just showing off some of our new tech and everything. And I'm in my hotel room. This is vlog number one, and the reason I'm doing this is because I'm traveling a lot. I want to continue making videos, and I also want to talk about my experiences on the road. Not necessarily as a composer, but like as a human being. And it dawned on me, being here, the question, the answer to the question, should you move somewhere in order to be successful as a composer, whatever, what have you. I want to sort of try and answer this question, and I want to say that it's complicated. Back before I got here, in fact, the night before I arrived, I was at a movie screening for a film that I had been in. I don't really talk about it a lot on the channel. In fact, this is probably the last time you're going to hear me talk about it. But I was there, and I was seeing all my friends that I had been in this film with, and we'd come such a long way, and it had been like a year and a half in production, and I was acting in it ages ago, and my girlfriend was in it too, and we got to like hang out with all those people, and this warm fuzzy feeling, came over me. And then I went to Chicago, and I'm doing this show alone, so it was kind of lonely and everything. And I get to Chicago, and I'm just like, I don't know anyone here. I don't have any connections. I know some of the exhibitors. I know a couple people from like Native Instruments and things like that who were there at Chicago IMSTA Festa, but I don't really. We were sort of segregated in these little rooms where we couldn't really walk around and mingle. And again, I was by myself, so I couldn't tap out and be like, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then mingle, and someone else, so it led me to feel kind of really, there's the air conditioner kicking in, kind of lonely. And it got me thinking, what is the value of a composer, a musical person, anyone, when they are outside of the place that they have spent a lot of time in? And I think that that value is kind of zero. When I think about my ascent as a composer, I think about the people who helped me get gigs, and they were people that I had met in Canada, in Ottawa, in Toronto, and all this stuff. I built my network when I was in Toronto. I built my network of directors who would let me compose for them, and then it was those directors that gave me a platform to share my ideas and share my musical ideas, and then that stuff was able to be put on my website, and that sort of helped me grow. I'm in Chicago now. I don't know a soul. I went to the rooftop bar a moment ago at the hotel I'm staying at. It was like devastating. I'm like, I am getting out. It was like all these like really happy people and everything, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's still like soul crushingly embarrassing to be there by myself. I'm like, 180 back in the elevator. I really think that if you're going to be a composer, there is value in staying somewhere where you are known, where you have connections, where you know the local so-and-so and the director and the actors and everything, and you can say, yeah, I just live down the street, or I live in this borough or that borough, and that creates sort of currency. When you go somewhere new, like I have today, if I was to move to Chicago and start composing, I would have to start fresh. Your being local creates a kind of currency, a kind of value for you, because you are local. You don't have to do any groundwork or homework or networking per se. You just have to sort of capitalize on what you know and where you go. I'm sure these days, if you don't live near a big city, or if you don't live in a big city, you live near one, and it's easy for you to travel and go and see what's happening in festivals and attend workshops. In Toronto especially, there's so much going on. If you're near the GTA, if you're in, I don't know, like Oshawa or Brampton or Georgetown, or Georgetown probably a bad example, but like, even like to an extent like Barrie or Burlington or Hamilton, these are sort of Toronto places. You are connected to a huge network in Toronto, and if you are going to go, I'm going to go to LA, I'm going to go to London, England, somewhere else. You are starting fresh, and you are severing your ties and severing what makes you sort of special in your community. So, if it wasn't for Canada, rinky-dink Canada, no one thinks of any composers as coming from Canada. We think of them coming from the States, the Resners of the world, or we think of them coming from Berlin, Germany, Hans Zimmers, or we think of them coming from the UK, John Williams. We think of these big, Danny Elfman, again, the US, but I was still able to sort of carve out a community and a friend sort of network that allowed me to sort of express myself musically and and promote myself too. And I'm here. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I don't know a soul. I feel really lonely, and to me, the idea of should you move, I'd say build what you have, build currency and sort of prestige in your own communities where you know people, where there's less work to do. Once you've established a sort of foothold in your own city, you become the sort of go-to person. You become a sort of a specialist, and then once you're able to sort of take all the great work that you've done in your community, once you're able to sort of capitalize on that and promote yourself, then bring yourself elsewhere. Then someone knows someone in a different city and someone knows someone somewhere else. Use that to sort of kick the ball forward down the field. But I really feel like if you haven't tried to make connections and you haven't really tried to grow and build as a composer or a music maker or whatever in your own area, then you're really doing a bit of a disservice to yourself, and you have to recognize that you're going to have to start fresh in somewhere new, And for a lot of people, they're realizing this when they're in their 20s and 30s, and sometimes it's a bit too late. If you're very young, I think you can start over and build, but you really owe it to yourself to look around, think local, and see how you can establish yourself as a kind of specialist in your own community first, where people, it's easier to make connections, it's easier to sort of prop yourself up and build yourself up and then move from there. So, vlog number 1, should you move somewhere else? Listen to everything that I just said and then decide if you want to go somewhere else, because drinking alone in a hotel room in Chicago, I don't know.